the biggest reason why CRMs and other platforms like high level feel intimidating to people is that because there's so many different tools, there is a big learning curve involved. And then you also have to utilize it properly and consistently to actually get value from it. And if you don't have the time to do that because you want to focus on running your business, that you're not getting the full value of the tool.
Hey, welcome to a podcast where dreams meet determination and success is just around the corner. I'm your host, Suzanne Taylor-King, and I'm here to help you unlock the full potential of your business and your life. Welcome to Unlock Your Way with STK. Let's unlock your path to success together. Good morning, everyone. Suzanne Taylor-King here with Shafqat Huq. Hi, how are you, Shaf? Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for having me on here.
Oh, you're so welcome. We're here for another live episode of my podcast, Unlock Your Way with STK. And today, we're going to be talking to my agency partner who helps all of my clients and me organize my business. And really, we're diving into so much today. We're going to talk about your past career, this career, your VA agency, how you help other agencies get started. So really looking forward to this conversation today. My first question for you, though, is I want to talk about your past career and how you transitioned into what you do now.
Yeah, and I appreciate you asking that because I spent some time kind of reflecting on it and trying to figure out where I got to where I am now. And I finally feel like I have some clarity on that. So to give a little bit of background, I triple majored in finance, economics, and accounting. At the beginning of my career and kind of even in college, I thought that I was bound to work in either investment banking or financial advising or wealth management for my entire career. I had offers coming out of college to work for Goldman, invest on the investment banking side, and then ended up taking a role with Merrill Lynch in wealth management because I thought that was a more people-oriented side of finance. Did that for about 2 years and then got burnt out and realized that it wasn't for me and that I wasn't going to be doing that long-term, and kind of found my way into the tech and startup space. And it initially started with me coming up with a mobile app concept for music festival tickets. I've been going to Coachella for years, and these events that, similar to Coachella, that sell out very, very quickly, create a supply and demand issue where there's a very small amount of tickets. There's hundreds of thousands of people trying to get them. And it created a secondary market where people were selling them on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, Reddit, OfferUp, all these different places. And there was a lot of scam that was happening. People were selling fake tickets or ending up getting screwed, for lack of a better word.
I remember a whole festival on some island somewhere that was a whole scam. I remember that.
Yep. Yeah, and so what happened is I actually developed a mobile app that kind of operated like a stock market where people were able to get verified wristband tickets. We had the seller mail us the wristband, we authenticated it, make sure it was a legitimate ticket, and then pass that off to the buyer. And in that process of developing a startup, coming up with the product, the business model, all that stuff, I realized that there wasn't really a lot of resources for people that had an idea that wanted to develop that into a product or a viable business model. So that kind of led to me starting my consulting agency called Katz Consulting. So that's kind of what led me into the realm of software and technology consulting. And then fast forward today, we now have a CRM and marketing automation software, LeadBuddy, which is essentially a white label agency of high level software that you're familiar with, and I'm sure many others in your audience are as well. And then we also have a virtual assistant agency as well that basically we work with busy entrepreneurs to help reclaim free time and focus on things that matter more to them.
Well, I'm all about those things. I'd love to touch on the organizational piece. When I found Go High Level software, I was using 7 or 8 different tools. And it's still a process getting, everything into one place. But the freedom that comes with that is so important for entrepreneurs, coaches especially, because I feel like a lot of coaches have shiny object syndrome where, especially if they like technology like I do, that, oh, there's this thing, it's going to solve this tiny little piece of my problem instead of looking at that whole picture.
Yeah, definitely. And high level is just absolutely incredible because I feel like it gives you everything you need to run your business in one place. And it just makes it so easy to consolidate that entire ecosystem of different tools that you'd normally have to pay 15 different subscriptions for to get the same functionality.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the idea of, taking someone who's spending, $1,000 or $1,500 a month on their technology down to $197 or $297. That's just absolutely astonishing value to me. But you bring something else to the table, which is why I've never partnered with any other agency before. And it stood out right away to me, this linear knowledge, the planning, the strategy, and then the creative aspect of it. So that was really important to me. And then you have the VA services to kind of support. It's not you doing all of the work. And that was another really attractive thing to me in a partner. How did you come to that kind of place of deciding that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it at that different level for people? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I initially discovered high level and, it gets advertised as a SaaS product, so software as a service. When in reality, I think the better way to look at it would be to describe it as a software with a service. So you have the actual software component of it, the tool that the business owner or the coach or whoever it is utilizing. But, I think the biggest reason why CRMs and other platforms like high level feel intimidating to people is that because there's so many different tools, there is a big learning curve involved. And then you also have to utilize it properly and consistently to actually get value from it. And if you don't have the time to do that because you want to focus on running your business, that you're not getting the full value of the tool. So that's where we thought, okay, how do we outsource the implementation or the day-to-day activities of the software so that the business owner is still getting that value, but they're not having to spend an absurd amount of money on someone to get that done. And so that's where the virtual assistant agency kind of came into play, where we'll work with the business owner to develop the broad strategy and how to utilize the software. And then the day-to-day implementation and actual tasks are being done by a virtual assistant that's trained and has full expertise on how to use the software as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because then, your clients don't have to go looking for someone else. You have that covered in-house. And I think more importantly here, what kind of freedom has that given you? I know you were on a trip recently. You're still running your business, right? While you're traveling.
Yep.
How has it enhanced your life to have this knowledge that you have?
Well, I mean, I've always been traveling a lot, and I think for a while it took me a long time. It took me a long time to figure out how to delegate certain tasks, and I think I had some trouble letting go of things because I wanted things done in a very particular way, and I didn't feel as though I could properly train someone else to do that. And so in some ways, I kind of became my own ideal client because I had to kind of extract from my own head my way of getting certain tasks done. And then that led to, okay, well then now if I'm able to do this for myself, I can go ahead and do that for other clients and make sure that their tasks are getting done to the same extent and quality level that they're expecting. A couple months ago, I was in Europe for just a quick trip, and then I was in Asia. I've been having other trips within the US and have some more travel lined up in the next couple of months. But just having a virtual assistant has just made it so easy to be able to delegate those tasks. I'm able to communicate with them throughout the day and just make sure that, you know, my business isn't being put on pause if I'm out of the office, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. What does that communication look like for your clients? How do you streamline that communication process between the client and you and the virtual assistant? That's always been interesting to me.
Right. And and it really depends client to client, the frequency that this communication is happening, the channel, a lot of that stuff really depends on what the client is most comfortable with using and what kind of level of interaction they want. We have clients that have check-ins at the beginning of each day, at the end of each day. We have some clients that just want to check in maybe once a week. Some that are even less frequent. So it really depends on what their level of what their expectations are in terms of communication. But typically speaking, we'll have a daily check-in on some kind of channel like Slack, WhatsApp, or even just a regular text message. We've done stand-up calls. That's kind of a terminology that's very common in the software world, where you have the entire team kind of report on what their tasks are for the day, what they got accomplished the previous day, just so there's that frequent accountability and progress checks.
Yeah. Well, I think the communication is really key. At least delegation for many solopreneurs is really one of the most difficult things. And the story that we tell ourselves is that, oh, it's just this, and that would take me 10 minutes to do, and it would take longer to explain it to someone else or tell someone else what I want. And that loop of being in that space, I know because I was in that space, sometimes still a little in that space, is really the most difficult thing to break out of, because we need to trust. And we also need to have our standard operating procedures clear in our own minds before we delegate to other people. And I think I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what that looks like within your own companies. Like, how did that work for you, really deciding what those SOPs were and then extracting them? Because I'm sure, like me, you were probably just doing, and then it comes to, how do I do that? And you have to break it down.
Yeah, I think the best analogy that we use commonly is like building the plane while you're flying it.
Yeah.
Trying to figure things out as you go, which a lot of times you do need to do that first. Just build as you go, and then you take a step back and reflect and say, okay, you know what, this is probably the replicable way of doing this, of onboarding a client, or offboarding a client, hiring new employees, things like that. And that is a big part of the intake process and onboarding process for my virtual assistant agency, is figuring out, okay, what is the current way of doing X, Y, and Z? How can we replicate this, or how can we train someone to do this step for you? And just getting full documentation, road mapping that out, and then training someone to go in and do it with the client, and then slowly kind of taking the training wheels off where the client steps away from it, and it's just the virtual assistant performing those tasks.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And did you implement that for yourself, like knowing that, or did you kind of come after doing it for your clients?
I think it was kind of simultaneous, because my virtual assistant agency consists of 3 partners like myself. There's myself, my cousin, and then another business partner who all run our own businesses. And then we have a virtual assistant lead in the Philippines named Jem. And she's kind of our operations lead. And she kind of spoke with each of us and figured out, okay, what are your pain points in your own businesses that we can address for our clients? What are the steps that, what are the tasks that we can outsource? Can you run through a training session with someone so that they can take that task over? And so we then replicated that process for clients like ourselves.
I love that. And did you luck into finding her, or was that research based? What did that look like?
It was a mix of 2 things. I think, I've always been very internationally connected in the sense that, my parents are from Bangladesh. I go back there. I go there every year with them. I also have a lot of contacts in other countries in Asia, like Pakistan, India, the Philippines, even other countries as well. And so we have the benefit of being able to connect with people there, and then vet through a lot of the talent pool, because I think the biggest roadblock to actually working with people internationally is because there is a lot of BS artists out there, and it's very difficult to be able to screen through that.
Yeah. We're getting a question from a LinkedIn viewer. I put it on the screen here. What is Go High Level? And there are multiple companies out there named that. Yeah, let's go there.
All right. Do you want to answer that one, or you want me to take that?
Well, I think it's a combination. It's a white labeled software. But Shaf, how do you use it, and how do you offer it?
Yeah. So, High Level, or Go High Level, as some people know it, is a CRM and marketing automation software. The company that develops it sells it directly to agencies, and they allow agencies to white label it under their own branding and their own brand name and resell it to their clients. And so that's probably why you're seeing that there are multiple companies that are named Go High Level or leveraging it. So you might be seeing it under a different brand name. So in our case, we call our product LeadBuddy. And so we work with small local business owners to generate more leads and just operate more efficiently. And yeah, it's a great product. It's allowed me to add a consistent, predictable source of income versus before. A lot of it was centered around trying to find large projects that were one-offs, and there wasn't really a predictability in the cash flow there.
Yeah. And that same LinkedIn user is saying, so it's marketing and not service. Well, it's actually a combination. And that's why I've partnered with Shaf and his company, and referring clients, because it is marketing. You have to know what you're selling, what you're offering, what your branding is, what your messaging is. You have to know all that. But this is a funnel software, CRM, calendar service, online courses, membership area, affiliate program. Like, the possibilities are endless, what you could create with Go High Level. So imagine it like ClickFunnels with a more advanced automations back end and more possibilities of not only connecting it to other softwares, but having multi-step funnels and really customizing what you're building and putting out there. You could have your website in Go High Level as well. And I think the confusing part for most people, Shaf, is that so many people white label, which means they buy Go High Level software and then they put their branding and their name on it, but it's actually the same exact tool running in the background. And I know that was a big misconception when I had my agency. So many people would come to me and say, well, are you like this? Is yours like this? I'm like, it's exactly the same. You're just buying it from me versus, someone else.
I was going to say that's part of the reason I use the term software with the service, because the underlying software is still the same, but clients can go ahead and get high level on their own, but then they're having to implement it themselves, and they don't get a fraction of the value that we provide in terms of the strategy, the support, all of that stuff.
Yeah. And I talk a little bit about the support piece. That's something that my clients that have already onboarded with you, it's something they noticed right away. The onboarding process was very seamless. You were able to take one client who was already using Go High Level with another agency and transfer their information into LeadBuddy, but also it was the overall support in the back end that's different than a lot of other agencies. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. So we've invested quite a bit in time and money in terms of building out the support infrastructure so that our clients have 24/7 access to reaching out to some of their, if they're trying to build a funnel at 3 a.m., chances are I am available at those hours. But in the event that I'm not, and they need support very quickly and immediately, we have a live chat team that's available around the clock. And that's increased the customer value and experience so much that, our churn rate has gone down substantially because they're getting around the clock support and value that they aren't getting at other agencies.
Yes. Well, I think that example that you set, this is the perfect segue into your agency mastermind per se, right? Where you actually help someone who wants to have their own agency and wants to do that whole route that you've gone, and you actually coach, mentor, and help them set up their agency. And this is really taking your expertise in the way that you set up your business and helping other people create that as well.
Right. And that's another thing that I started my high level agency, and in the first few months of doing that, I was engaging with a lot of other content creators on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and I would start getting messages and questions of, "Hey, what is this software? How are you using it? I'm interested. I'm a web developer," and so I realized that I had knowledge that other people could utilize in terms of being able to start their own agency or their own business. They have experience building websites or being a software developer at an agency or a tech company, but they were interested in starting something of their own, creating their own brand equity. So that's kind of where that started off. And so now I have a accelerator or mastermind. I host weekly support calls on Thursdays. I give out a ton of resources in terms of things that you'd have to normally spend hours and a lot of money building out. I give that out to my affiliates just right on, at the front end of their agency journey, so that they don't have to do the heavy lifting. All that stuff is kind of templatized and done for them, so they can just focus on business development and sales.
Yeah, you're really shortening the learning curve just from what I've seen in the back end, which, when somebody's looking, even if it's a established coach who works with people who could need, and they're looking to create that other revenue stream by having an agency, you are really the perfect mentor for them because you've done this all yourself and you have the systems in place to back that up. And it's really interesting to me that so many people start journeys like this blind, like they really don't know. And having a mentor who's done it and then meeting with other people who are doing it is life-changing for that journey of shortening that journey. So if you want to take 10 years to grow your agency, well, go out and learn everything yourself. If you want to grow and have an additional revenue stream in a much, much, much shorter time, hire a coach or a mentor to help you with that.
Right. And I think another part of it is, there's hundreds of different affiliates that they can choose from. And if you Google high level affiliates, there's a few people that stand out that have a huge following that are probably making anywhere from 200,000 to $1 million a year, maybe even more. I'd probably say 200,000 a month. There's some people that are bringing that in just from high level. But you can go with an affiliate like that, but what you don't get is the hands-on coaching. And I think when choosing a mentor or someone to kind of work with, you want someone that's a few steps ahead of you, that's more relatable, and their level of success it feels more attainable to where you are currently. Because if you start right now and you see someone that is making $200,000 a month from this software, there isn't a level of that doesn't seem as feasible or realistic. Versus if I see someone that's making $5,000 or $10,000 a month right now, that feels like I can get to that within a realistic time frame. And I feel like that person's more likely to invest in one-on-one coaching with me, or be more hands-on and proactive and emotionally invested in working with me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. It's one of the reasons I stand so firmly in the fact that, being a coach, to me, coaching is actually talking to my clients, right? So am I your coach if we never have a conversation? I don't think so. I think you're just taking my online course, or I'm giving you resources. So to me, that's a really defining factor when I'm looking to hire someone. Am I going to get to talk to them? Am I going to learn from them? And it's also one of the damaging things about making income claims in the online space. And I think a lot of times people make those claims. Oh, I'm making $100,000 a month or $200,000 a month or whatever. And they don't realize how they think that's positioning, but they don't realize how scary that is for someone just starting out or looking to hire someone. Like, oh, I could never get to that. Why would I want to hire that person? And so I think the humility of, you have 3 companies and somebody could learn a massive amount from you. I've had multiple exits and, been very, very successful in some widely different spaces. And when I look at my coaching, whether I was a health coach, a mindset coach, now a business coach, I've always stood in the fact that talking to your clients is what makes you a coach. Now, that's not super scalable because I actually have to talk to everybody. And that's where additional revenue streams, raising your prices, being that more category of one is really important. And I think you are well on your way to doing exactly that.
I sure hope so. But I appreciate hearing that. It means a lot to hear that.
Yeah, I really do. I see something totally special in what you've created. I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here right now if I didn't, because to me, that's the authentic nature of relationships and coaching, seeing someone else's potential. So really excited for what you're doing and what you're creating and having you as a resource for all my listeners and followers. And for those of you out there who know me, you know I don't do that very often. And it's just been a pleasure to have that relationship with you.
Yeah, likewise. And I mean, I was kind of reflecting back on how we got connected. And, obviously David Bisco was the one that made the introduction, and I was trying to figure out how I got connected with him. And it was through BNI. I met someone named Joe Walker in speed networking, of all places. So it was like a 3-minute window where I met Joe, and we did a 1-to-1, and then he connected me with David, and then David very quickly was like, "You need to talk to Suzanne. She's one of my favorite people."
I love it.
And I think we had a 1-to-1 lined up, but something happened where I think it got renewed, it got deleted off the calendar, and I was like, "What's going on? Does she not want to meet with me?"
Oh
I
no,
asked
I
David. I was like,
did.
and then you emailed me back immediately. I'm so sorry this happened. And I was like, okay. And then we finally had a conversation, and I immediately texted David saying, "Thank you so much for introducing me to Suzanne. I feel like this is going to be incredible for my business," and it absolutely has been. So
well, same. I think it's one of those, synchronistic things that when you're ready, the right people show up. And it's one of the number one things I hear from my clients is, I'm just not getting in front of the right people. And I want to just say that it's deeper than that. It's about being so clear on where you're going and what you're doing that then the right people show up. And David came into my world from a Facebook group, and we got connected and hit it off. And, he knows me really well. So he knew exactly what to listen for when he met you, that he immediately knew. And so him giving you and I that valuable connection, let's think about that spiderweb effect. And
right.
If you can do that for people as well within your company, life-changing for people.
Right. And you mentioned something in terms of having clarity on the messaging, and that's something that you've helped me with as well, in terms of, I obviously have 3 different things going on, and people would ask me, like, what is it that you do? And I thought about this for a while, how exactly to answer this in a very concise manner. And just over the course of the last couple of months of interacting with you, I've gotten that clarity in terms of, this is how I position it. I am a solutions engineer. I realize that there's a better way to do things, whether it's, helping people operate more efficiently, generating more opportunities for revenue, or just freeing up time to work on or focus on the things that matter more to them.
So good. I think to that, well, thank you. But I think what's magical about that is you are the brand, right? You are the companies. I don't care whether, think about Richard Branson, right? I don't know how many companies he has, but he's the face, right? He's the brand. And I see that with so many people making the mistake of talking about your solutions instead of the outcomes. So for you, it's not about selling Go High Level or your VA services, or it's that being the solutions architect or that solutions engineer, right? That can really see for your clients. And beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, LeadBuddy or High Level or Go Task for a virtual assistant agency, that's just the means to the end, or that's the mechanism that we're using to deliver the end result that they want.
Hopefully, what you're hearing is that you need to connect with Shaf or me, and I'll put you in touch with him. And I really look forward to where we're going and what we're going to co-create. And you never know. Maybe you'll end up with 6 companies by the end of this in your toolbox. That's really exciting. And how can everybody get in touch with you or reach out to you? What's the best way?
So my LinkedIn is pretty easy to find me, Shafqat Huq. I also have a new website that I put up, shafqathuq.com. Those are probably the easiest ways. And then you can find my social media profiles from there if anyone's interested in connecting.
Awesome. Well, I'll put all of your links in the comments where we're live today on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And you'll be seeing a lot more of us around the interwebs. Very excited. Thanks, Shaf.
All right. Thank you very much.
Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you soon next week. Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Unlock Your Way. I hope you found today's discussion inspiring and you're ready to take your business and personal growth to that next level. If you're feeling as fired up as I am and eager to unlock that full potential, I'm here to help you on your journey and provide that personalized guidance tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Simply book a one-on-one coaching call with me and we'll dive deep into your business aspirations and see how we could co-create a roadmap for your success. And whether you're striving to scale an enterprise or just getting started, I'm here to support you every step of the way. To schedule your coaching call, simply visit the website at unlockyourwaywithstk.com, click on the Book a Call button, and we'll turn your dreams into that reality. Subscribe and review on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Plus, you can join over 800 entrepreneurs in the Idea Lab Facebook group. Let's make success as an entrepreneur happen together. Until next time, I'm STK. Keep dreaming big, stay focused, and most of all, have fun while you're doing it.